There you go. All right. So on hot days when the heat is really strong and beating down on you a bit, um, it can be difficult sometimes to kind of regulate body temperature, especially when you're in a humid climate. I think it's worse than when you're in our climate here in Denver. But also, particularly if you spend time moving in and out of air conditioning and then into heat, and then air conditioning and then into heat, it's very difficult for your body to kind of regulate its temperature when you're constantly shifting temperatures by 20 degrees, 70s in the air conditioning and 90s in the air outside. Um, and so this sense of overheating can really become a problem. Now, lots of things in yoga can help, but there's a type of breath work that can be really soothing and helpful when you are feeling hot. So we're going to start with that today. This is called Satali breath. I apologize, my voice is a little hoarse, so but bear with me. But the only way you can do this is if you have the genetic capacity to roll your tongue. So if you can't roll your tongue, um, I'm so sorry, but you can't do this type of breath work. So turning your tongue into a little tube, okay? You're gonna breathe in. Now, this is one of the few occasions where breathe in through your mouth. Okay, so normally I would say never breathe in through your mouth, always breathe in through your nose. But if you breathe in through the tunnel that your curled tongue creates, and then relax your tongue on the exhale so that the muscles in your tongue, around your tongue, don't get fatigued. So a long, steady exhale, or sorry, inhale through your curled tongue, and then a relaxed, gentle exhale through your mouth or through your nose, but with your mouth nice and relaxed. And you'll notice as you start this, so sit up straight and close your eyes and take a moment to gather your posture well. And you might notice that when you start to do this, it's like a cool, refreshing feeling that can penetrate all the way to your lungs. And then the other thing that we can't do right now, but I would recommend, is having a sip of mint tea, or like some cold mint tea, or having a mint in your mouth right before you do this, because the flavor of mint will also be cooling in your mouth. So if you do this Satali breath after having some mint in your mouth, it can also enhance that feeling of your lungs getting a deep sense of coolness, like you're bathing your lungs in cold air. All right, so let's practice this for a moment and just observe what your body feels like. The other cool thing that happens when you breathe in through your curled tongue is it automatically slows your breath down because you can't take this giant gulp in. So see if you can, while you're breathing in, feel that the cooling that's happening to the air can reach all over you. Imagine it goes beyond your lungs, into your brain, into your arms and your legs, just feeling the sense of coolness expand beyond the torso. Do this next round that you're in, just pause for a moment and notice the feeling of coolness. Where is it living in your body? Focus on that. Next time, probably right now you're not hot because you're inside, but next time you're in some heat or some humidity, try this breath and see if it can help you regulate your body temperature. Palms together to heart, and let's bow in. What is your intention for your time on your mat today? Release your hands. Let's find our way onto our back. All right, so the other thing that can happen when you're feeling very hot is that it can affect your lymphatic flow a little bit. And sometimes people can feel just, a little swelling in their hands or their feet. So let's also remember that most of your superficial lymph, which of course can be affected by your body temperature, is assisted by simple things like flexing and opening, closing and opening joint spaces. So the more rhythmic movement you have through joint spaces, the more that lymph will move. So let's stretch our arms overhead and feel the right side and the left side and just welcome in some rhythmic moving through the two sides of your body. We're not exactly closing up joints here, but you can feel that sense of rhythm as you stretch your right side a little longer and then your left. Let's bring the knees into the chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. All right, and then let's circle your knees, kind of rolling in one direction and rolling in the other. And then let's open the knees and close them up. And even something as simple as this can start to move some of that fluid in your body. Lymph is such a beautiful thing. Not only is it part of your immune system, but it helps to regulate your fluid levels in your body, pulls fluid out from your extracellular space into the lymph vessels to be carried away back into the cardiovascular system. All right, so let's hug the right knee into the chest. And now let's feel some movement around in our feet. Try some flexing and some pointing and some rolling and some wiggling. And just get that mobility, movement in your feet. A good squeeze in your hip, a good squeeze in your knee. And then let's change sides. Left knee in, right leg long on the ground. Give a good squeeze to that knee and feel your feet move around again. And just notice how nice it is to feel rhythmic movement in joint spaces. A lot of times we think of our joints, our knees or our shoulders or our elbows and maybe our ankles. But remember also that we have joints all the way through our spine. So it's not just flexing and opening like our knees or something, although that's very helpful. But we want to get to all the parts of the body. So let's stretch our body out like a star. Feel the little bit of a back bend that lives in your spine. And then exhale, knees into your chest. Pick up your head and round the spine. Let's start to get all the spine to have that movement potential of opening and closing. One more time. Open big. Exhale. Close. All right, let's relax. Put your feet on the ground. Rock your knees left and right. Just getting some mobility in your hips and in your spine. All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto our side and come up onto your hands and your knees. So as you come onto all fours, let's feel into the fullness of our spinal movement. It might be even more than what we felt when we were on the ground doing our star poses. Okay, let's feel into the roundedness. And then each vertebrae, see if you can ripple through and find that rhythmic movement as you roll from cat to cow. Some of the worst things that we can do when we get super hot is to think that the best thing to do is to not move. Okay, so
Doesn't have to be vigorous movement. It's not like you have to go out for a run at 2 p.m. when it's super hot out, but you can feel that your body has mobility, that we're not stuck. All right, we're gonna curl the toes under and settle your hips back toward the heels, and then come back up and lay your feet back down, tops of feet, child's pose. We're gonna go back and forth between that rhythm. Come up, curl toes under, back towards child's pose. Come back up, feet flat on the ground, back towards child's pose. Once more each way, back up onto all fours, curl toes under, hips roll back. How's your breath? Back up onto all fours, tops of feet on the ground, relax toward the floor. Come back up onto all fours and start to move your spine around. Any way you want to move your spine. You can circle your hips, you can roll around in your rib cage, you can move your pelvis. When you're ready, flat back. Inhale, left arm lifting to the sky. Exhale and slide that shoulder underneath you and feel the twist. And now we're staying put, we're not having that rhythmic movement here. Let your breath be the rhythmic movement that's kind of opening and closing your rib cage, opening and closing your spine, opening and closing your shoulder blades on the back. Even though that's not an official joint, we have mobility there of our shoulder blades sliding. Let's go ahead and find our way back up. Bring that arm to the sky. Hand comes down onto the ground. Second side, arm up. Open your armpit and then release that arm down, finding a twist. Even though we're statically holding this posture, our breath is not static at all. We're moving the breath. Feel how the breath becomes the rhythmic movement for the body. Can you feel the spine change shape, the ribs change shape, the shoulder blade change shape as you breathe in and out? And lift that arm back up to the sky and comes down onto the ground. Curl the toes under and lift to dog pose. All right, so here, pedal your feet. Even if you're not typically a pedaler, let's do it. Okay, so drop one heel, bend the other knee. Drop the other heel, bend the knee. You don't have to go super fast, but try not to be, you want to be moving. You want to have some rhythmic moving of dropping a heel and then dropping a heel, then dropping a heel. Let's just enjoy. All right, find your way into a full dog pose now where you're resting the ease of movement and finding more stillness, where we have this sense of space growing in our body. Instead of feeling like you have to move anything, yield, feel that the movement is the awareness of your hands and your feet dropping into the earth and then pushing off. So you have this dynamic extension and release through the whole body. All right, we're gonna do some spinal rolls here. So we're gonna round the spine, roll forward to a plank, let the chest come straight forward and then roll back. So we're kind of rounding the spine, letting the shoulder blades protract. Just feel that movement coming into a plank and then coming around, backing up again. All right, let's walk the feet forward. Relax your body. See if you can get the feeling that you can be at ease in Uttanasana. Take your feet as wide or as narrow as is comfortable for you. And then wag your tail and wag your spine. Sometimes it's helpful to feel like your torso is an elephant trunk that's just kind of swaying from side to side, so you can have any kind of movement that feels really good. Sometimes it's nice to put weight to one foot and then weight into the other foot. Sometimes it's nice to balance it out. All right, grab your blocks, a halfway lift, extending through the spine here, feeling that full length. Now we're gonna hang out on these blocks to make sure you're in a happy place where you feel supported. And here we're gonna bend one knee and then bend the other knee. Open up the back of the knee. So a lot of times, we're hyper vigilant to not hyperextend, but let the back of the knee open up wide and then bend it and let the other back of the knee open up wide. Same with the feet. You might want to come up onto your toes on one foot and your heel on the other foot. So you just get that fascial stretching. This is what helps move lymph, is the superficial feeling in the body. All right, and then relax, melt down again. You can bend your knees, then rise all the way up when you're ready. Arms coming high to the sky. Let's cactus open the arms and feel a squeeze and release the hands down. One more time, big arms up, a big circle, so you can cactus or keep the arms straight, whatever feels nice. One more time, arms up. This time, definitely bend the elbows. We'll open the chest, and now our rhythmic movement is to close the forearms, bring them toward each other. Open back up, chest big, shoulder blades together. Exhale, forearms come to touch, chin tucks down. One more time. Big, huge breath. And then release your hands down. Give your hands a good shake. And then while you're standing here, we're just going to rapidly open and close your fists. Kind of flick your fingers open and then reclose those fists. And we're going to bring our hands out to the side while we do this. Open and close your fists. Kind of rapidly, and then we're going to bring our arms up. Keep opening and closing your fists. You should start getting a little fatigue in your forearms. And then press your hands straight out to the sides, fingertips pointing up. Let's lift one ear and then lift the other ear. Make sure you're breathing through a lot of these rhythmic movements that we're doing. Just moving from one side to the other, fingertips pointing straight up, hands spread wide. All right, and then relax. Give your arms a good shake. One more big open circle. And then release your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Open up your chest and bend your knees forward. Remember, your lymph, all of your lymph, dumps back into the cardiovascular system at 2 ducts on either side of your chest, right at your collarbones. So see if you can feel that space open. And then release your hands down. A halfway lift, spine gets longer. You put your hands on the blocks. Let's bend and straighten your knees now. Now, with this rhythmic movement, try to get your hips to get very involved in this. So we're kind of swaying the hips. As you drop your left knee, lift your right hip up. And as you drop your other knee, lift that hip. So we're just getting a little bit of that rhythmic movement. Not everybody likes this in their back, so be very mindful of how moving your pelvis in this way impacts your spine. Okay, and then a neutral place, halfway lift neutral. Feel your feet, ground the big toe mounds, the pinky toe mounds, the inner and outer heels. As you ground those bones, lift the center line of the arches all the way up to the inner thighs and the outer hips. Feel your calves and your hamstrings open up. And then relax and melt. Let's take our right foot forward. Our left foot comes back. This is what we often, almost always do to warm up our legs. So finding the lunge. Now this rhythmic motion is getting a little deeper into our legs. You can bow your head on the straight leg. You can lift your crown on this bent leg, and you can do none of the above. If you want to just keep your head neutral, that's fine. Same with your front foot. Sometimes it's nice to keep your big toe planted the whole time, even as you straighten the leg. Sometimes it might feel nice as you straighten that front leg to lift the toes. So just find what needs opening for your body today. Are you breathing well? All right. Steady your legs, ground yourself, rising up to crescent lunge, arms lifting. Okay, a little bit of open and closing of your fists with your arms, maybe a little rolling of your wrists while your arms are up there, go both directions. And then we're going to have some movement here through the spine. Open the chest, cactus the arms. Exhale, press forward, lower your torso, and then eyes back up. Big breath, open chest. Exhale, press forward. One more time. Maybe your breath is faster than mine. Maybe your breath is slower than mine. I'm talking, so I feel like it's hard to regulate my breath when I'm talking. So go your pace. You don't have to go my pace. Pause and crescent lunge. Okay, gather your leg strength. A different movement pattern now. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, twist. Arms come back up. Exhale, twist to the right, arms out to the sides. Back up to center. One more time. Rising back up. Hands coming down, back foot floats forward. Uttanasana again, let the head melt and bow. Inhale for a halfway lift, straighten those legs. Exhale and relax, back down, knees bend a bit. Left foot forward, right foot behind, come to a lunge here. Okay. Once you find your legs, once you feel like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be, then let's start to move. Blocks can be on any height you want them to be on. The head can bow or not, toes can lift or not. Just find your pathways through this movement where we're bending the front knee and straightening it a bit. And don't worry about going all the way straight. More important to keep focus of your hips staying square and your spine staying long. Find your breath. Okay, next time we come to our lunge, let's just ground here for a moment. Feel the roots, and then let your body rise up. And maybe you're not having your arms overhead. Maybe that's a little trying for your shoulders. Even if your arms aren't going overhead, find some rhythmic opening and closing. In some way, find that you can have opening and closing in your fists, in your elbows, and in your shoulder joints. Okay, if your arms are up, smoke and close fists. Let's cactus the arms, bend those elbows, open the chest, press forward. Push off your front foot. Rising up, some big cactus arms. Exhale, pressing forward. Again, rising on up. Pressing your arms, lengthening your spine. Come back up to crescent lunge. A different movement pattern. We're twisting now to the left on the exhale. And then bring that arm back up. To the left on the exhale. Arms out to the side. Bring that arm back up. How's your breathing? One more time. Great, and then hands come down. Bring your body back to dog pose. You can always come to cat-cow if dog pose is not your posture. If you're getting off your hands a little bit more, find your breath. Let's roll through our spine again. End in the plank, chest forward. Put your knees down on the ground and find the earth. Roll your shoulders. Have a few passes of the shoulders moving up toward the ears, then up toward the sky, and then down. And don't forget about the down. See if you can pull your shoulder blades down your back a little bit. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, melt down. Again. Opening chest. Exhale, relax. Take spider hands. So fingertips on the ground, arms right out to the sides of your shoulders. Inhale, rise up, turn your head left. Come back down. Inhale, rise up, turn your head right. Back, down. Come back up onto all fours. Move your spine about. Swag your tail. Come into that knee compression. Let's go back into child's pose. We're going to do a little flow from here. Inhale up onto your shins, arms come up. Exhale, back to child's pose. Squeeze the back of your legs. Twice more. Rising up now, maybe your arms don't want to come overhead, and that's okay. You can just bring your fingers to your shoulders and then lower. Back down. Find the pathway that opens and closes your joints. All right, now come into child's pose and just rest here for a moment. Feel the squeeze of your groins, of your knees, opening up your feet. See what it feels like to relax your arms for a moment. All right, now if you're comfy, interlace your hands behind, stay in child's pose, interlace your hands behind your back, and they can be loosely intertwined, okay? Allow your elbows to fall, so we're finding a deep internal rotation in our shoulders. And then we're gonna, flap like a butterfly a little bit here. So instead of just thinking about lifting your elbows up, which you will do, feel that the shoulder blades are moving on the back. And then relax, let the elbows fall and the shoulder blades widen. And then shoulder blades toward each other and down, elbows up. And release. One last time. Shoulder blades toward each other, elbows up. And then release. Relax the arms one more time onto your shins. Arms coming up. Exhale, hands coming down. All right, let's take our right leg straight back behind you. And we're going to keep two hands on the ground so that we can have a little bit more stability in this movement. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, elbow and knee come toward, not the elbow, the head and the knee come toward the center. Maybe round your back a little bit. And then stretch that leg. Now, at the risk, let your spine move a little bit so you feel just a little bit of rounding, a little bit of opening as you stretch that leg out, but try not to have, when you bring your leg out behind you, try not to fall and sway your back and lock your shoulders. Keep it a dynamic movement of core, groin, and spine. Make sure you're breathing. Now we're going to place that knee down on the ground and switch sides. Left leg straight back behind you. As you are ready, we're going to exhale and bring the chin or nose and knee toward each other and bring it back. Now you can move fast or slow or somewhere in the middle, but maintain stability of your core and your spine. So we don't want to have this be flomping into, a sway back and round back and sway back and round back. Let there be a little bit of dynamic movement in your spine that's supported by your glutes and your spinal muscles and your core. Make sure you're breathing well. All right, come back, come off your wrists, sit back onto your heels if it's comfy. We've got one more pattern to do in that range. So back onto your hands, right leg is behind us. Now, instead of just bringing your knee to your chest, We're gonna bring the knee out to the side and around and do a few passes of opening your hip in this way, maybe 3, and then go the other direction. So I always think of it like a breaststroke stroke in the pool and a reverse breaststroke stroke. After doing 3 or 4 passes each direction, put that knee down on the ground. If you need to be on fists, take fists. You can also put forearms on blocks if your wrists are unhappy with hands being on the floor. Left leg back. And let's bring that knee out to the side, up toward your armpit, underneath and back. How's your breath? How's the stability of your core? 3 or 4 rounds in this direction, and then let's change directions. Knee up, back and around. Relax back to child's pose. Feel that squeezing of your hips. Rise up, arms to the sky on your shins one last time. Hands to your heart. Now challenge yourself to stand up with no hands. Of course, if you need your hands on the ground to stand up, do that. All right, let's find our breath. Standing, feel your feet wiggle, feel your hands wiggle. Okay, so let's do a couple of wide-legged standing poses just to get into those hips a little bit more. Arms coming up, toes turn out. Exhale, squatting down. Twice more, arms big and wide. Follow your breath. Maybe you want to add a Satali breath in here somewhere in our practice. Pause here. Let's rock from one side to the other. You can lift your toes up off the ground, straighten your leg a little bit. And then some little pulses, even weight in your legs. All right, standing star. We're going to turn our right foot out, arms come up, deep breath in, bend your knee. Arms straight out to the sides. Straighten your leg, arms come back up. Exhale, hands out, knee bend. Now, if overhead movements bother your shoulders, you can still have this rhythmic movement of your joints, even by just hugging in and then pressing out. Even if your arms don't want to go that high in the air, you can hug in and then straighten your arms and open your hands. There's lots of ways to open and close joints without, finding any trickiness in a joint that doesn't work well in your body right now. Okay, let's hold Virabhadrasana. Drop your weight into your feet. Put your arms in a place that's supportive for your body. Track your knee over your foot, over your ankle, in line with your toes. Okay, let's reach up. Reverse that warrior. Feel your rib cage. Straighten your leg and turn your feet back. Second side. Now, if arms overhead is bothersome, really try to work with a different way of finding that sense of opening and closing your arms, your torso, without having to strain your shoulders. Okay, so find the pathway that works for you. Breathe in, lengthen, exhale, bend your knee. Choose the pathway with your arms. How's your breath? Into Virabhadrasana now. Find your ground. This might be a good place to move into Satali breath. And if your shoulders are bothering you, put your hands down. Find the way that's supportive to you. Drop some energy into your feet. All right, let's reverse the warrior when you feel ready. Open up your ribs. And then straighten your legs, turn your feet forward. Let's bring our hands down toward the ground. Open the backs of your legs, relax your skull toward the floor. Now feet are pointing straight. We're going to turn them out in just a moment. But first, just feel that nice ease. Now put your hands on blocks or the ground, whatever you reach comfortably. We're going to turn our feet out just a little bit, and we're going to bend into a wide squat and then straighten our legs. Hence why you want your hands, if you need to have some height underneath them, take your blocks so that you can find your way into opening the backs of the legs and then giving a good squeeze into the hip joints. Find your breath. Turn back to the front of your mat. Find a dog pose. Straighten your legs. Maybe you want to pedal your feet again, maybe not. Drop weight into the index finger mounds and thumbs. Feel the length of your body. Come forward. Maybe you want to round forward, maybe just a neutral forward plank pose. And then lower yourself down, finding the ground. Hands behind you, palms facing the floor. Inhale, lift everything up. Back body works. Feel your breath. Move your diaphragm a lot. If you remember, you have this very large lymph portal. It's like a rain barrel. It's called your cisterna chyli. Right in your guts, right where you're breathing to right now. So breathe well. Move your center body as you breathe. Stimulate that flow of lymph in your belly. Okay, come back up onto all fours. Move your spine any which way if that feels good. And then relax to child's pose. Feel the squeezing of the back of the knees, the squeezing of your groins. Okay, come back up onto your hands and your knees. Find your way to dog pose. Extend the spine again. Right leg lifting high. Stack open the leg. Feel that stretching open. And then square the hips. Deep breath in. Knee to your chest. Shoulders over your wrists. Inhale, bring it on back. Place it on down. Change sides, left leg, lifting up, stack open the left hip, breathe into that long line in your body, and then square your hips again, take a deep breath, exhale, knee to your chest, bring that leg back, dog pose. Let's walk our feet forward, come into Uttanasana. A halfway lift, melt and fold. Rising up and tracing down through the center of the body. Pause here for a moment. Come into calf splits. Place your hands on the blocks. Stand on your right leg. Lift your left leg behind you. Come up onto your right toes and down onto your right heel. Up onto your toes and then heel comes back down. One more time. Lift your right hip as you descend the heel. Be active in that leg in the air. Take a deep breath in here, and as you exhale, Jiva squat. Tuck your left knee behind or next to your right knee. Curl in. And then press your legs straight. Twice more. Exhale. Squat in. Inhale. Press straight with your legs. Last time. Curl on in. And press straight. Place that foot down onto the ground. Balance the weight through the two legs. Relax your skull, breathe here. We're gonna stand on our left foot, right leg stretching back behind you. Let's come up onto your toes and place the heel back down. Twice more, up onto your toes. Place that heel back down. This time, when you come up onto your toes, hang out there just a moment. Lift that hip, other leg is super active in the air. And then place the heel down and squat in. Knee next to or behind your left knee. Curl your chest and chin. Inhale, straighten everything out. Press those legs straight. Exhale. Tuck into a ball. Inhale. Press it all straight. One more time. And then place that foot down onto the ground. Soften your knees and rise up. Now, that was head down for a while, so rejuvenate yourself. If your blood pressure gets a little wonky or you get a little dizzy when you stand up, you can always squeeze your thighs, press your palms, tuck your chin. And get your blood pressure to find its way back to neutral. Once you feel steady, we're going to do eagle pose. If you know you need help with balance, remember for eagle pose, try to put your butt against a piece of furniture or a wall instead of using your hand for balance. This way you can do the arm position and the leg position at the same time. Okay, so if you need the support of the wall, we're going to stand on our right leg. We're going to cross our left thigh over our right thigh so you can lean your backside against a wall or a piece of furniture for the support of this pose. With our left leg on top, that means our right arm is going to go on top. Shoulders down, chest up. Now remember those ducks in your collarbones. Broaden your collarbones. Give both the simultaneous squeeze in and a broadening out. Hug your armpits, hug your thighs. Feel that snug squeeze that you can give the body. Open up the feet. Breathe under your armpits. And then we're going to stretch out to a standing star. 2 feet down on the ground. Okay, remember you can use the wall or the furniture if you need it for balance. We're going to stand on our left leg, cross the right leg over. And now for some people, the foot hooks, do not worry about that. That is a useless thing. A lot of times when we hook the foot, we end up turning our hips. Much better to have your hips straight. Okay, left arms on top, drop shoulders, lift chest, elbows up and away, collarbones broad. Spread open your hands and your feet. Squeeze your legs and your armpits. Breathe into your side bodies. Breathe into your armpits. Let your vision soften. And then open the garden hose and let your whole body flow. Standing star. Exhale. And a wide-legged forward fold. Relax your head. Turn your feet out one more time. Squats and straight legs. Squats and straight legs. Hands can be on blocks. You can do just straight squats if you prefer, just squatting down and standing up, and squatting down and standing up. So just find the way that your body is comfortable to have that sense of squeeze and release. And then relax all that. Let's come down onto the ground. Okay. Bring yourself into child's pose again. Just allow yourself to fold into that sense of surrender. Arms can be up overhead if you want. Arms can be also down at your sides. a little harder to do a Satali breath when you're, so close to the ground, but you can try it. Sometimes it's nice to put a block under your head to give your face lots of room. The only not challenging, the only difficult thing about Satali breath is when you breathe through your mouth, through that curled tongue, it can be very drying. Obviously, our nasal passages are what moisten the air and bring it into our lungs. So especially in a dry climate, you want to make sure that you have a little sip of water before you do Satali and after you do Satali, so that you have that moisture kind of being in cohesion with the cool air. Okay, so we're gonna lie down on our back. I have a few more rhythmic things in your body. Drop weight into your feet, 4 corners, and we're gonna move through some moving bridges. So we're gonna inhale to lift the pelvis up, arms come overhead, and then exhale to lower the arms down. Pelvis down. Okay, so moving with breath rhythm. Stay grounded in your feet. And then relax your pelvis back down. We're going to roll over onto our right side. Now you can use a block or a blanket under your head if you feel like you need it. Palms are together, knees are together, you're at right angles. We're going to open up, opening and spreading our chest, letting a twist happen, turn your head, and then exhale and come back to center. Twice more. Open things up. And close things up, palms together. Let your breath in your chest open. And when you're ready, we're going to do the other side. Roll over onto your left. Palms are together, knees are together, feet are together. It's okay when you do this to let your knees slide apart a bit, head turns, and then to let your knees slide back together. There are times when doing this with your chest, with your knees together can be very therapeutic to open up your thoracic spine. But you can have a sense of freedom as you move here. Let your pelvis do the moving. All right, and then relax and come back down. Feel yourself at ease. All right, so rest here for a moment and just let yourself breathe. Maybe a lying down Satali breath. Find your breathing. Now, as you come into this last thing we're going to do before Shavasana, it's kind of what we do always in the beginning of class. Just you can feel a sense of slowness if you want, where we spread out our wings into a star, and then exhale your knees and your chin to come back up. Find your breath, feel that extension and openness. Find your full inhale, and as you exhale, round in. Okay. Relax your skull back down, arms come down onto the ground. Let's do a simple twist before we do Shavasana. Bring your hips over to the right, drop your knees over to the left. Find your breath, breathing in, breathing out. And then come back up to center. Well, let's change sides. Breathing well. Come back to your center. And as you lie down for Shavasana, maybe you want to practice some of that Satali breath as you get going in your Shavasana, but mostly just let your body have freedom and space. Feel into that sense of deep surrender and let your body relax. If you can feel your body drop its weight as best as you can, melting through your eyes, melting through your jaw. Imagining that all the fluids in your body are working well, flowing well. You have a deep innate sense of the ability to regulate, adapt to any changing condition.
deepen our breathing again. Feeling a sense of spaciousness on your breath, sense of melting. Eventually start to find some movement, maybe a simple opening and closing of your fists or movement of your feet. It's fine. Our way into a bigger movement, maybe a big stretch overhead, knees to chest. And coming over onto your side. Use your arms to lift yourself up to sit. Just notice how you feel. So once you get up to a seated posture, no rush to get there. But once you do, see what it feels like in your body, in your breath. And let's have a couple more rounds of this Satali if you'd like. Curling the tongue, breathing in through your curled tongue. Spread the coolness everywhere. Place our palms together and offer the energy of our practice outward. Let's share. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.